This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we get new information on IO Interactive's new 007 project. Could EA be climbing back into the ring and working on a new fight night? Well, according to rumors, this may be the case. Hogwarts Legacy is getting a definitive edition. We'll definitely discuss what will be included in this package, and we get a Nintendo Switch 2 rumor on when the console will release. But all of these stories can be found here and many more in episode 228 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to have you good brothers and sisters here with me. Now, before we officially get into the episode, if you do want to be a part of listener feedback, you can do that two different ways. You can either email the show, and the email address is simply the name of the show. It is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Or if you want to go ahead and call up the show and let your voice literally be heard on the next episode, you can do that by calling in at 443-627-9087. Now, with that being said, guys, I want to go ahead and just start with some light topics before we get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. Now, it is a report coming from WCCF Tech that says this is the headline: PlayStation 5 Pro doesn't feature any VRR improvement over base model, but PSSR in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth feels like a, quote, lifting a veil of smear, end of quote. Now, this is so interesting because I think Digital Foundry actually did do a video, and they showed the stark difference of what Final Fantasy VII Rebirth looks like with the PlayStation 5 Pro and without being shown on the regular PlayStation 5. And it was a drastic difference. So it looks like for that case, the PSSR situation is definitely working in the way it is supposed to be. But if you thought that in any kind of way, shape, form, or fashion that the VRR was going to be improved, you would be mistaken. When it comes to the VRR on the PlayStation 5 Pro, it is the same as the PlayStation 5 original model. The other thing that I wanted to discuss this week is Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 is getting DLC. Now, that includes lethal difficulty. It's going to be a very hard difficulty, something I would never play a game on because I play games for fun, not for difficulty. But for those guys out there that want this, you'll have the lethal difficulty coming. You'll also have PvE Operation Termination that will be added. A Horde mode is going to be added. PvP maps are going to be added as well, and modes. And a season pass will be coming out as well. So for all of you guys that are Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 fans, you got some stuff coming. Now, when it's coming, I don't know. Didn't get a date on that, but just know that the content is on the way, brothers and sisters. The other thing I wanted to discuss is Jay Allard. He's joining Amazon to work on, quote, new ideas. Now, if you're not familiar with Jay Allard, this brother was way back in the day. He was like one of the co-founders of Xbox. And Jay Allard, he did I believe he was on the 2005 stage when they were talking about the 360, the Xbox 360. I believe he was talking about you'll be able to make clothes and sell them on the store, something like that. But either way, this guy is back in the industry. Well, he is at least working with Amazon. Now, what he is doing over there, particularly, they are not saying. It is just a matter of him working on some new ideas. Of course, we know that Amazon has been, they've been teetering around with, possibly getting into gaming. Who knows how far they're going to be willing to go as far as getting in, fully. I mean, we'll have to see. But having a guy like Jay Allard over there on your team, that should be pretty interesting. It was something that was going on around too, talking about that Apple was going to be jumping into the console race as well, coming out with a console sometime between later this year, which I think that's a wash, but maybe in 2025 they could be releasing something. I don't know about that. Apple in a console race. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if I am convinced that doggone Apple could do something with PlayStation and Nintendo. Now, granted, at the time when the Xbox was about to release, I said, I don't know what Microsoft is thinking. Ain't no way these guys going to be able to have any kind of foothold in this industry. And shockingly enough, the Xbox, the first one, was a real good effort. But they really topped out during that 360 era. And then after that, they just kind of lost their way. So I don't know. Could Apple have a foothold? Could they possibly be competition for PlayStation and Nintendo? And I mean, they're still in the game officially as it stands. You can say Xbox. They're still around. Would they be enough competition? I don't think so. I don't think they got the manpower. Now, they got the money. They got the money, and they possibly got the muscle to be able to do something, to be able to do a run. But we saw Google. Those jokers tried to jump in the ring, man. They got thrown the heck out the joint. It's like a dog on Royal Rumble. Jokers got taken right over the ropes in less than 5 seconds. Jokers was out there acting like, oh man, we're about to be the biggest, baddest mofos on the block. Man, jokers got ran off the block quickly. So I don't know. It's kind of hard when you're trying to get into the ring with these other guys, man, that have been there for quite some time. And I know Xbox ain't doing the best they really do. I know they need some help. Well, they don't need no darn help. They need games. That's what they need. Release some dope games and whatnot and stop giving you stuff to PlayStation all the dog on top. Man, I was talking, God, dog, this kind of hurts my heart right here. I was talking to AB earlier today. Shout out to AB. That's my dude right there. And he was telling me that doggone Diablo 4, that DLC will be PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced. I said, golly, that's going to hurt. I mean, man, can you imagine the hurt of doggone Xbox fans looking over there at that DLC from doggone Diablo, and it's running better on the PlayStation 5 Pro than the Xbox Series X? God dog it, man. Man, it's going to be some hurt out here, brother. Hurt feelings. Because these jokers are saying it's coming. Matter of fact, I think it was a list of games that they had that were going to be PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced. I'm going to see if I can find it. What games on PlayStation 5 Pro will be enhanced? I'm going to see if I can find this list. All right, Alan Wake, it's a lot of them. You got Dragon's Dogma, Demon's Soul, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Yeah, we talked about that. Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, we got some news on that. Horizon Forbidden West, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Matter of fact, if you weren't aware, go check out Digital Foundry. They had the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart comparison with the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro. Check that out. You got Returnal, The Crew Motorfest, The First Descendant, The Last of Us Part 2, remastered. It was a whole lot more than this, man. That list was doggone huge. It was a huge darn list. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Is this it? Yeah, all right. Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed, Demon Soul, Dragon Dogma 2, Dragon's Age, The Veil Guard, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, F124, Gran Turismo 7, Hogwarts. I apologize for reading some of these over again. Marvel Spider-Man 2, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village, Star Wars Survivor. Ooh, that game already looked good. Darn, can only imagine. Stellar Blade, The Crew, Motorfest, The First Descendant, and Last of Us Part 2. So I had most of them for the most part. But it's gonna have quite a few games coming out the gate. Again, like I said, Diablo 4 is gonna be there as well, with that DLC in the game gonna be getting enhanced. So yeah, the PlayStation 5 Pro definitely seems like it's gonna be getting a lot of support. And I did see on one list. Now, I mean, this is a no-brainer, but it does get me excited, doggone. It makes me feel great about it. They were talking about Wolverine will be one of those games that will be enhanced. And of course, it should be, because it is a PlayStation first party game coming out from the big brother studio, Insomniac. This joke is the big brother over all you mother lovers over there right now. They are the only one that has consistently come out with games over and over again. I mean, Naughty Dog, we've been waiting on you for a minute, brother. I don't want to hear that mess about, well, we got The Last of Us 2 looking good on the Pro. We redid doggone The Last of Us 1. Everybody asked for that, guy, dog. You ain't even care about that. The game looked fine the way it was. And granted, I did hear that it does look pretty good on the PlayStation 5 Pro, to be fair. You know, not even the 5. I'm sorry, the PlayStation 5 version does look great, you know, the remake or whatever, but nobody asked for that. But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to discuss before we get into the doggone, the actual podcast, Flight Simulator 2024. Man, this joker is making headlines, because when you're streaming the in-game world, and if you got data caps, good luck with this, because when you're streaming the game, the game world, it can take up to 180 megabytes per second, which works out to roughly around 81 gigabytes of data per hour. So if you got data caps, you just might not want to mess around with Flight Simulator 2024. This is absolutely crazy, the doggone amount of data being streamed. Now, that was actually according to Tom's Hardware, that it evens out to about 81 gigabytes of data per hour. But it has been said as well that if you are flying around like NY, you can expect to get around 30 to 50 megabytes per second when you're doing that. So that is a drastic drop from 180 going down to between 30 and 50. And they also said that when you're going to the Grand Canyon, flying around the Grand Canyon, you can expect to have it go from 60 to 90 megabytes per second, or if you want to lower the detail, you can actually get it down to 40 to 70 megabytes per second. Either way, Flight Simulator is a very interesting game to me. It's never been something like I told you guys a million times. I ain't never wanted to be no doggone pilot. I ain't want to be no Top Gun, fighter jet, and any of that stuff. I ain't never wanted to fly in the blue skies. Never been my thing. But I will say, this game is technically, I mean, from a technical standpoint, God dog, I want to try this out. I'm going to tell you something, man. I'm going to tell you this right now. If Flight Simulator, I know this is gaming blasphemy. I know it is. But if Flight Simulator, I'm all tongue-tied. Y'all know how I do. If it came over to the PlayStation, man, I might be tempted to go ahead and take for a spin. I don't know. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but if it did, man, it just might get a sale from me, but we'll see what happens. The new Xbox came out. the all white one, all digital. Think they said that they shrunk down the chip on that thing, to 1.6 nanometers or something like that. They're talking about it. It actually runs pretty good. They changed some of the inner workings of the console a little bit with the motherboard and things of that nature. So it's coming out doing pretty well, but it's not like a upgrade or anything like that. But anyway, guys, with all of that being said, though, all of the softball out of the way, let's go ahead and let's officially get into what we all come here for, and that is, of course, the gaming news that went down. Now, this week I want to start with an article that I got from 80LV. So let's start this episode off with gaming budgets.
Show me the money.
Yes, sir. So as it stands right now, AAA development has ballooned. We all know this stuff is out of control. With games like Halo Infinite allegedly costing $500 million, Concord costing allegedly, and I still don't believe it, but allegedly $400 million, and Spider-Man 2 costing almost $300 million. One could start to think AAA development just can't be done for much less than these prices. But did you know, now this was so interesting to me, did you know that Black Myth Wukong developer Game Science recently spoke at a global digital trade expo where they revealed that the total development cost for Black Myth Wukong came out to $42.5 million. I couldn't believe it.
What did he say?
I'm telling you, it is amazing. $42.5 million when you have other games costing almost $300 million, $500 million allegedly, $400 million allegedly, $42.5 million. Now, to be fair, that's just the cost of development. Now, Bloomberg, however, did report that the overall budget for Black Myth Wukong was around $70 million, meaning it cost them around $30 million for marketing. So even in the grand scheme of things, this is very, very reasonable. And with the game selling over 20 million copies, hence bringing around $1 billion, that is an excellent return on the investment. Doggone. Shout out to Game Science, man. These jokers came up. And these jokers made a hit game for $70 million. Grossed over $1 billion. Unbelievable. I mean, I think it is a guarantee that we'll probably see another Black Myth Wukong coming out sometime in the near future. I believe, shout out to Cody Clark, too, that good brother. I believe he sent me an article, and I did read a bit of it from the Space Marines 2 developer, who he was talking about, this situation, about game development and the cost and everything. Yeah, I just don't know where it is going. Stuff is out of control. Hopefully they'll be able to get a hold on it. Hopefully they'll be able to get things under wraps, because if they don't, the gaming industry is going to continue to shrink more and more and more. And I don't want to see the human talent go away for AI. I mean, I did see an article. I didn't really read it. I just saw the title of the article where it talked about AI was used in Spider-Man 2 to actually get it over the finish line or something like that. It was used in some kind of way. So even with it being used, it still cost them over almost $300 million. Even with the AI, God, dog, get it together. That's just so much doggone money, man. When you have something like Black Myth Wukong coming out and looking as good as it does, whoo, man, you got to do better. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I got from Comic Book. So this is in quick news. Now, this is going to be very interesting because at 1 p.m. EST, on October 17th, which is tomorrow, because I am recording this on Wednesday, October 16th, Xbox will be having a partner preview event featuring new trailers and, quote, multiple world premieres, end of quote. Now, you'll be able to find this on YouTube. Now, the thing that I say that is interesting about this is, the key word is partner. It's going to be a partner preview. I have heard. Now, granted, y'all know I ain't got no insiders. I ain't got no sources. Only source I have is the same source y'all got, and that's the internet. That's Google. That's all I got. So I'm talking about different stories that I read via different websites that are saying that Sony is going to show up on that stage. Sony is going to be at that show. Now, what Sony is going to be doing there, I don't know. I don't know what PlayStation got to do with Xbox, but doggone it. If doggone Sony didn't show up during that daggone GDC, it wasn't GDC, the event in Cologne, Germany. Joker showed up on the stage. Oh, by the way, Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation in spring 2025. God dog, Jokers didn't even have to be brought up. But now, it sounds like, at least from what I have read, PlayStation is going to be at that show. To what level they're going to be there, I don't know. If it's true, I don't know. But in a couple of hours, we will all know for sure if they were there or if this was a bit of a ruse, as it were. But we shall see. Tune in tomorrow, 1 p.m. EST on YouTube to check it out. Let's go on into the next story that I actually got from Indie 100. So more Nintendo news has been revealed pertaining to the Switch 2, courtesy of a CEO of a games accessory company named Blade. Now, I ain't never heard of this accessory company called Blade, but just because I ain't heard of them doesn't mean they're not real. But the CEO, his name is Ruben Mercado, spelled Rubenmercado. He appeared on a podcast, Spanish website called Vandal. He claims that the console is, quote, done and ready, end of quote. And his company has access to versions of the hardware that are nearly completely finalized. Now, he also claims the console will release in March or April of next year. He says, quote, this is his quote. He speculates the release date will depend on Nintendo's financials for the current fiscal years, believing it could launch in March if sales are below expectations, or at the start of the new fiscal year in April if the figures are solid, end of quote. So look, they'll launch in March if sales are down, but if sales are up, they're going to launch in April, according to him. Now, not in this news article, I didn't find this in this particular news article, but from Comic Book, they also discussed, now this has to do with the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, a multiplayer Pokemon game that's said to be the source code for Pokemon Black 2 and Pokemon White 2 is in development by Game Freak. Now, I believe the other piece of information that was interesting is the code name. They actually also talked about the code name for the Switch. This was in the Comic Book article. The code name for the Switch, which was leaked via, I believe it was Twitter, or some people call it, what do they call it, X? They say that the code name for the Switch 2 is, quote, ounce, end of quote, OUNCE. Now, depending on who is sharing the leak because somebody else called it ounces. Somebody else called it ounce. So I found that interesting. I mean, God dog, ounce? Ounces, could it have something to do with the size or the weight of what the Switch 2 is going to be? Could it be a very, very light, weighty, or light, weightless Switch situation, which is why they're calling it the ounce? I don't know. But the takeaway is a new Pokemon game is being made. It's going to be multiplayer. I think y'all need to shout out that other game that's being sued by Nintendo right now, which it makes sense now. Nintendo doggone saw what they did, Power World. I think that's what it's called, Power World. Doggone Joker said, oh, y'all beat us to the punch. We can't have that. We got a game in the works for Pokemon multiplayer right now. We can't have y'all stealing our shine. So it definitely makes sense why they would be trying to sue them. But don't be mad at them, Nintendo, because they doggone beat you to the punch. Doggone get out there and compete. Do something you ain't done in years. Compete, god dog it. Have some competition, some direct competition. Because Nintendo, these jokers been ducking and dodging direct competition for years. For years. Doggone Nintendo want to stay over on their side of the bubble. I don't want no trouble. Sony, I don't want to mess with y'all. Xbox, I don't want no trouble with y'all. Let us just be on our side of the map and just relax over here in the sun. We don't want to fight y'all. Doggone get out there and compete, Nintendo. That's what I want. But nah, instead, these jokers want to sue the little guy, Power World, out here doggone struggling for his life right now. Possibly. I don't know. We'll see what happens with the case. But, this actually releasing in March or April, I don't even think that is I don't even think that's a stretch. I mean, I think we would all, to a certain degree. I mean, again, this is all rumors, so y'all take all of this with a mustard seed of truth. Just make sure of that. But I don't even think that's a stretch. We know that the Switch originally launched in March. Think of 2017? 18, 19, 21, 2, 3, 4. God, dog, it's been almost 8 years. It'll be 8 years possibly that have gone by since another console from Nintendo has come out. That is crazy. 8 years. Wow. Man, these jokers going barely be a dog on Xbox One, PlayStation 4. It's been 8 years. But yeah, I don't think it's a stretch. When you talk about it from that perspective, I think we all thought that in March it would probably happen, even April. But I've heard and seen reports where they're saying it may not release until the doggone holiday season, which we know could be anywhere between September, November. Between September and November, it could possibly release. So we'll definitely see. But according to this CEO of the company, the doggone accessory company, Blade, he's saying that it's going to release between March and April, depending on the finances of Nintendo. But we shall see. But what I want to do, guys, before I jump into the next story, actually, I am going to jump into the next story. Then I'm going to get to the listener feedback. But this next story I actually got from GameSpot. So this is something we had heard about before, but now we actually have some details. So according to Insider Gaming, Warner Brothers Games are developing a Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition that will feature 10 to 15 hours of new content, including an additional story quest, side missions, costumes, and more. Now, it will reportedly also be available as DLC for people that already own the game. Now, this release, I have to say, this release would be right on brand because we also saw Cyberpunk 2077 get a definitive edition that was also included, with the DLC. And that too, to be fair, was a WB published game. So the report suggests this DLC should be released by 2025, which would in turn mean that the Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition would actually release in 2025. Now, hold on. Now, I don't want to make a doggone fool out of myself. So let me make sure that they did publish Cyberpunk 2077. Hold on, god dog it. I'm sure they did. Who published Cyberpunk 2077?
According to Wikipedia, Cyberpunk 2077 is a 2020 action role-playing game developed by the Polish studio CD Projekt Red and published by CD Projekt and based on Mike Pondsmith's Cyberpunk tabletop game.
Woo! See, I just lied to y'all. I just got caught in a lie. I thought the doggone WB was behind that, but nah, these jokers said the doggone CD Projekt did that. Hold on, let me see who publishes Cyberpunk 2077. Just want to make sure. Yeah, CD Projekt Red and published by CD Projekt. Woo!
Boo this man!
Whoa, I messed up big time, boy. That was, pardon me. Shucks. Well, anyway, so yeah, well, it ain't really much to go off of with the history, but we do see that games do get definitive editions. Right now, it looks like, according to the reports, the doggone Hogwarts Legacy is up next. And goodness gracious, WB, they need the doggone money. You know, especially after doggone the Justice League. That Joker just went, man, that just went the wrong way. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this to see what happens with this. But 2025 is when this game is supposed to release. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead at this time. I want to get into some listener feedback. And, Cody, you just sent me another one today. All right, let me get Cody, man, brother. Now, whew, this email, man, I have let this thing linger on long enough. You sent this in September 2nd. You know, I felt like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure. You know, where he was in there, he was saving the animals from out of the doggone, the animal, wasn't the animal shelter, but they were like selling dogs and they had all kind of animals in there, and he kept on saving everything else until, you know, he saw them snakes in the beginning. He was like, I ain't messing with them. He kept saving every single animal in that place until it was none left, and he had to go get them doggone snakes. That's me right now. That's me, Cody. Man, brother, you put a humding on me with this one, brother. But I appreciate so much that you wrote in with this one. I've been waiting to the last minute the doggone read this one. So, Cody, whoa, y'all button up y'all seatbelts, because this is going to be a long ride right here. But shout out to you, good brother. You know I appreciate you writing in. And we going to get into this email, man. I'm going to tell you, you went for the record books with this one, Cody. God dog. Now, the title of his email is Undertale, Undertold, Undertreated. He even puts it part 1. He says, long one, Key, sorry. Hold your breath. I'm holding. Oh, man. Here we go. Part 1. He says the old X-Beast really has had a run. I mean, it beat the lifespan of the Saturn and the Jaguar, the Ouya, the Stadia, and a whole mess of retro and mini systems to relive the golden age. Yeah, them jokers didn't have a chance, Cody. I'm sitting here looking at my Jaguar right now. Yeah, the Jaguar, that joker was out 2 weeks and they canceled that joker. That thing didn't have a chance. Saturn, yeah, I'm not looking at it. It's in my closet, but that didn't have a long lifespan either. So the X-Beast definitely outdid those, and oh my goodness, oh my gracious, that didn't have a shot at life. But let me continue. It says Microsoft tried to mix it up with AR, HoloLens stuff. They got smacked down for the price of their system with the Kinect. They bought Mixer in 2016 and tried for a moment and then killed it in 2020. Yeah, that was just a bad look. He says in parentheses, I really like their video latency tech. I heard it was good. He said it really reduced a bunch of stuff too. Bad it is. Who the heck knows where now? A patent in a zip file or some folder in a basement somewhere. He continues, Xbox tried to go all digital from the start of the Xbox One, and people were putting their fists down their throats. Yeah, I was one of them, Cody. I'm not a fan of all digital. He says 11 years later, and most of us have a majority digital library. I might be a little guilty, Cody. I got a few. He says, heck, it was the old Xbox OG that started with legit digital downloads and internal hard drives. That was the Xbox forward thinking. That was a game changer. When you had that hard drive, man, I was ripping music, Cody, having it play in the background when I was playing NFL 2K or NBA 2K. That feature was incredible. The replays were longer on NFL 2K versus PlayStation 2. It could go back a lot further. That was definitely a heck of a doggone thing that they did, including a hard drive in the Xbox. Yeah, they were definitely forward thinking on that one. Okay, this is part 2. He says, now it's whatever. I mean, Sega gave up the ghosts on hardware, and while they are kind of a shadow of their former self, they are still kicking. Very true. They still got Sonic games coming out. We got a new Jet Grind Radio coming, a new Crazy Taxi. So yeah, you're right. Even though the console is gone, Sega does still live on in the gaming industry. Very, very good point. He says Microsoft could pull that lever and axe the hardware and just use Xbox as a publishing wing. Cut a ton of costs for hardware. I mean, they did try and fail with the Zune, the Windows Phone, and are kind of middling with the Surface tablets. Yeah, they definitely start a lot of things, Cody, and they will cut it off in a heartbeat. I think that's a little bit of their problem as well. I mean, you got to try at it for a little while. Sometimes I think Microsoft, they give up a little too early, but I also understand, if it's not working, you're not making money, revenue isn't coming in, these businesses are all about making profit, making money. And if it's not there, then, it's probably in their best interest to cut it as soon as possible instead of, putting more money into something that is not really selling. But let me continue. He says, does Microsoft need Xbox? Not really, as much as that hurts to say. I know, brother. Man, that hurts me too. It really does, Cody. Knowing that these jokers, they a $1 trillion company, 2, 3, 10, 20 trillion. I don't know. 3 trillion. I think the last time I remember, these jokers do not need, they do not need the Xbox. It brings in the least amount of revenue. Up until recently, it was bringing in the least amount, but that's because they got Activision, and under Activision or ABK, they got Candy Crush. They got all kinds of, games going on the phone, and Call of Duty is a monster, so they got a couple of things that have helped the portfolio on the gaming side as far as making more money. But yeah, at one point in time, I think Xbox was only making up like 3% of their earnings, which is nothing, so yeah, you're right. They really don't need Xbox, and it does hurt because I think if they needed them, they would do better by the console. They would do better by the fan base. They would try harder, because if they knew that was the only thing they had, then they would definitely be out there fighting for our dollars and not joining on the other side saying play our games on PlayStation. Stuff is crazy, Cody. But let me finish up your email here, brother. Well, we far from finished, but let me continue with your email. He says the last 2 years have been pretty meh for me. Xbox cutting up Game Pass for access and having different tiers is kind of the last infected limb for me. Yeah, that was bogus move right there. He says, right now, I am sort of waiting for my Game Pass Ultimate to run out sometime in the summer of 2025. Then I'm done. Whoa! He says, I guess I will cash out for the time being. So when you say you're done, Cody, now hold on, brother. Are you possibly, I do mean possibly, are you talking about possibly coming over here to the PlayStation side, my brother, where the greatness is bountiful? Is that what you were saying, Cody? I don't know. You might answer it in this email. Let me continue on. Now, this is part 3. Hold on. I got to do a cough real quick. All right. We are back. So part 3 says, after what Sony did with Helldivers 2, Ghosts of a Dad of War. Man, Cody, hey, brother, man, you got to show Kratos a little bit of respect here, brother. Just a little bit. Man, you've been talking about that Dad of War thing for a minute, brother. I'm telling you, Cody, man, brother, God, the disrespect is too serious. Doggone. Cody been riding this, man. The doggone Dad of War. This brother right here, goodness gracious, man. Tell you, God of War is a dope. Man, that game is so dope, man. You got to play it, Cody. But let me finish with your email. He says, Dad of War for PC gamers, and still having countries locked out and requiring a PSN account. Getting called out for it. Lying and saying they would fix it and still not fixing it. They are dead to, oh, shoot. No, he ain't going to PlayStation. Oh, this brother said they are dead. They are dead to me. I didn't need Sony before. I won't ever buy Sony anything ever. Even if the cell replacement kidneys or livers in the future. God, dog, man, you got a vendetta. This brother got a PlayStation vendetta. Oh, man. Cody said he ain't needed. I ain't need you then, and I darn sure don't need you now. Dag, man. Listen, man, I will say in all seriousness, being serious for a minute. Yeah, that is messed up, man. They should have definitely fixed that. That's something that should have been handled. People spent money on those games. They still haven't fixed. A matter of fact, I think they were talking about Ghosts. I mean, I know you were talking about it here, but I'm talking about recently. I think I saw something on Ghosts or Horizon where they were just taking it away completely from PC. Something like that. Don't quote me on that, but let me continue on, man. Golly, Cody is not getting a PlayStation nothing. He says, Nintendo is cute, but I don't care about Zelda or Metroid. No interest in parties with Mario or smashing my brothers. See what you did there, bro. God, dog. This brother said, oh, man, no interest in parties with Mario, man. I almost sound like partying with Diddy right there when you said that parties with Mario or something my brothers, sisters, or Donkey Kongs or playing in a pit full of splatty paint. Strictly Pokemon. Oh! Pokemon, and his brother said Nintendo can't do nothing for him either. He don't like Zelda. Brother don't like Metroid. He ain't trying to party with Mario, or playing Smash Brothers or Donkey Kong, anything. He ain't playing Splatoon, and he darn sure ain't playing no Pokemon. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Cody. Listen, brother. Oh, man, I'm laughing because I'm trying to buy time to come up with my thoughts right now. Man, you got me tripping on this email a little bit. Listen, brother, I will say Zelda, I haven't been the biggest fan. Shout out to the individual who will remain nameless, but he knows who he is, who bought Zelda for me on the Switch. Shout out to him, because if he didn't do that, I would have never opened my Switch, but I will say playing Zelda, it would take me a while to get into that game. It's just not quite my cup of tea, not too much, but I will say Metroid though. Oh man, Metroid, that's my joint right there, Cody. I can't front on that. Metroid is a dope game. Super Smash Brothers, I've never really been into. But Donkey Kong and Mario, well, not the Mario parties, you can keep that, but the Mario Odyssey, oh my gracious, man, I've said it before, I'll say it again. That game is phenomenal. That is a great game. But I get it, though, Cody. Not everything is for everybody, brother. Nintendo, brother, said, y'all cute, but y'all ain't cute enough. I got you, Cody. Let me get into your next part of the email, which is part 4. He says, Steam and the wider internet have some neat indie and indie adjacent games. Titles where if they don't sell 400 million copies, it does not result in the studio laying off 1,900 people and selling their guts and vice versa to Tencent. He said Versera to Tencent, or did I say that right? I don't know. My bad, Cody. But you said to Tencent or Developer Digital or the new hot investment venture firm that will burn any love or value for a generative AI trading card to sell at $999.99, so we can make a new Borderlands movie. There's definitely some games out there for sure, man. Some indies that I have enjoyed a lot. The Ascent, that was like one of my favorite games, indie games of all time. Limbo, I have it, didn't really get around to playing it, played a little bit of it, seemed like a cool game, but Inside, it's another game I absolutely love. It's a smaller indie game, as well as a couple of other ones. So yeah, you're right. It's some really, really great smaller games out there that can kind of teeter on that AAA quality to a certain degree, but just on a smaller scale. But to finish off your email here, Cody, you say, so what are us underserved, underemployed, and underwhelmed gamers to do? I hear tic-tac-toe is nice. I wonder if the DLC is out yet. Still better than gaming on my old PS3. Brother, goodness great. This email right here, brother. Man, just you writing this much. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it, Cody. You were committed to this email, brother. But yeah, man, again, Cody, yeah, brother, it's a lot of stuff out here to play. Xbox is still around. I know you said that you're probably gonna give up on the subscription. So where are you going, Cody? Yeah, tell us, brother, in the next email, where are you going? Where is going to be your new gaming home? PlayStation, you already then off them. They are not going to be supported by you. And I understand that just not for you. I get it. Just speaking, and, being serious for a minute. I understand that, Cody. And Nintendo, they don't really have any games that you like either. So does that mean, my brother, you are going to PC? Is that what you doing, Cody? Oh my gosh. Let us know, man. But I know I got another email from you that just came in a little earlier today, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But oh man, my guy is back in the building. Golly, I haven't heard from this brother in a while. Shout out to Crimson Phoenix. Now this brother wrote in this week. And the title of his email, oh man, brother attacking me. Oh, this brother attacking. He says, stop the cap. Oh man, what I'm lying about now, Crimson. Man, Crimson, this brother is really good, man. He listens to what I say, and he can definitely tell me something like, nah, that's not true, or you were wrong on this. Man, this brother that caught me so many times out there. He might have caught me this time too. We're going to see what he says. He says, his email reads, man, I really like reading this brother's email. Shout out to you, Crimson. It's so good to hear from you, brother. He says, do you really think it isn't lucrative to be on Game Pass? Then why? And he puts in parentheses, and I really want to hear you tell me, are there big and small publishers alike releasing several of their games on Game Pass? They are repeatedly releasing on platform that doesn't pay them enough to make any money. Laughing my beep, beep off. Come on, man. Make it make sense. Here's a fact that aligns with your thought process. Guess what there is? He says, guess what? There is a way that a dev don't get paid used games. So stop the cap. Laughing my beep, beep off. At least my money, whatever the percentage is, does go to the dev. Oh, and you don't own your physical games. And God, dog, man, see, brother, you're hitting below the belt. See, that's what I'm talking about, Crimson. Dog going to hit me in my stomach after I just ate some food, brother. God, dog. Brother just telling me, man, I know I don't own my games, brother. Dog, let me dream a little bit about this. Let me have a doggone, what do you call it? Let me think of a mirage, brother. Let me have a false sense of truth, man. Doggone. This brother continues. He says, make what you're saying make sense. That's all I ask. And in good fun. I always take it as good fun, man. Come on, Crimson. He says, till next, you give me a good enough reason to stop what I'm doing to write in. Keep them coming. Peace. Shout out to you, brother. Oh, man, that's my guy right there. Oh, man, hold on. Golly, I got to pull my seat up for this one. Goodness gracious. Man, Crimson, I'm going to make it make sense, brother. Okay, so you are saying that these guys, they get paid for putting their games on Game Pass. I get that, brother. Absolutely. The Microsoft, they're making sure they get a check for putting their games in Game Pass. But my problem is, Crimson Phoenix, I'm going to try to make it make sense because from my vantage point, if I'm a developer and a publisher, and I know that on your platform, for the most part, you are always, and it's a good thing. I mean, trust me, Game Pass is cool for what it is. You're always pushing this Game Pass thing. Pay this much money a month and you get these games. Okay, cool. If I know that's what you're doing, and I know that if I put my game on your platform, I'm running a risk. I mean, we already know it's the smaller fan base. They don't have as many people as PlayStation. That's a disadvantage. Again, we know that they're always talking about Game Pass this, play it on Game Pass, which means they're setting a precedent that you don't have to pay for your games. I get that. So the thing is that why would I, as a developer or publisher, put my game over there knowing that it is a good chance that it's not going to sell? I've spent money on resources. I've spent money on, advertisement. Sometimes, you got to pay for the advertisement to get it on the front page, on the dashboard. I'm doing all of this, but I'm not going to recoup my money. So, okay, now you'll actually pick up the game for me. Okay, and Game Pass will, pay you this much money for your game. Okay, cool. That's fine. But Crimson, I want the money up front. Who's to say that they're getting the money that they really want, Crimson? Who's to say that these third-party developers or whoever they are actually getting the bag that they want to get? Who's to say that they're recouping their costs? Excuse me, brother. Excuse me, y'all. Who's to say that they are recouping the cost that it cost them to actually develop the game? I mean, if you tell a person who's starving, Crimson, listen, man, I know you're hungry. I know you wanted steak. I know you wanted lobster. You wanted crab cakes and all that good stuff. But look, you're hungry. You're starving right now. I know you ain't eating. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to offer you some saltines, man. I'm going to go in and get you some of these Ritz. I'm going to go and give you some of these Ritz to get your style and get yourself right. I'm going to give you these Ritz right here. This is going to help you out right now. Doggone a starving person, Crimson, They're going to take them doggone crackers, man. They're going to take them, they're going to eat them, and they're going to enjoy them jokers. Man, that's what Eddie Murphy says, the best Ritz I ever had in my life. You know, God dog, when you stop, that Ritz was delicious. You know, so I look at it from that standpoint. If you're not doing well, you need help, you're trying to get some kind of money, you're trying to get something going. If doggone Microsoft offers you whatever price they do, it doesn't mean you're making money. But you know when you are making money, though, Crimson, when you're selling the games on the platform, when you're literally getting full price for the games on the platform, my brother. And if you ain't getting full price and you doggone getting half the price or a quarter of the price, man, that ain't adding up, brother. That's the only reason why I say the Game Pass. I don't think it's, I mean, it's great for the player. It's great for the player, great for Xbox or Microsoft. It's great for them. They're winning. And I get it that, these games do go into Game Pass. Sometimes they get taken out. You know, maybe you had to renegotiate a couple things. Grand Theft Auto has been in there. Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2. You know, so they've had big titles. I mean, some of the biggest in there at times. But I mean, a game like that has already sold 1 billion, quadruple million games already. But a smaller developer, smaller publisher, man, that ain't doing much, Crimson, you know, to give you that kind of money. And, well, I don't know what kind of money it would be, but I just don't think so. Matter of fact, hold on, Crimson. Hold on, brother. Because we're going to be here over an hour. I can already see it. Let me see if I can see something real quick. How much does Xbox pay for games in Game Pass? Probably said that wrong. Pay to have games in Game Pass. Okay, it says major video game publishers may want 100 million. Oh, okay. God darn. It says major video game publishers may want 100 million to 300 million to put their games on Game Pass on the day they also go on sale, according to leaked internal estimates by Microsoft. This was September 19th, 2023. Ooh. But you know what the key word there is, though, Crimson, is that they may want. Just because they want it don't mean they going to get it, brother. Just because I want a Bentley doesn't mean that I'm going to get it. Just because I want a doggone Ferrari doesn't mean I'm going to get it. I'm probably going to get a doggone Pinto. Something like that, brother. You know, doggone get a Camry or something. But just because a person wants it doesn't mean that they're going to get it. So, yeah, that is a high price. And I know, man, Crimson, I already know you, brother. Already know you are probably on the computer right now. This brother's typing something in to find these numbers. I can't sit here and find all of the numbers, Crimson, but you get back to me, brother. But that is why I don't think Game Pass is like I said, I don't think Game Pass is a bad thing. It's a great value for the gamer. But looking at it from a standpoint of a publisher and a developer, I'm going to be afraid to put my stuff on your platform because, one, your platform isn't selling that great as it is. And you never, if you look, Crimson, you never see the Xbox version of any games charting on NPDs. If it's a third party, you never see it chart. You always see it charting somewhere on PlayStation, but never on Xbox. It barely ever happens. So just looking at the optics, it doesn't make sense for me to put my game over there. It just doesn't, you know, because they're not going to buy it. And okay, Xbox, you're going to give me a couple dollars, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to keep the studio open. I'm starving. I need food, Crimson. I'm going to take what you give me. But Crimson, brother, it is always so good to hear from you. I'm hoping you right back in, brother. I'm hoping you right back in. And I look forward to hearing from you very, very soon, man. Golly, I thought I was going to be finished in an hour. That ain't going to happen. But let me get to Cody Clark right here with his email. But Cody's email says, Bandai Namco, more like bang, pow, no home. And that was a quote. He says, wow, I didn't expect Bandai to start cutting off limbs. He says they have been a stalwart company with lots of success. I mean, look at the games they produce. It's alleged 200 staff have been moved into expulsion rooms, and pressured to resign. That is just gross. Yeah, that's messed up. That's terrible. He says, I mean, they do put out a ton of titles, like a new Dragon Ball Z game every 6 months, it feels like. But man, let me continue. He says, that's the thing about mega publishers. They have all the money, but they are willing to cut off an entire limb if it saves them 25 cents. You ain't lying there. You ain't lying there, brother. Man, 200 staff, golly, these guys are consistently making games, Dragon Ball Z games, like you said, over and over again. They also, I believe the Tales games are under them as well. But yeah, man, having them going there and pressuring them to resign. Yeah, man, I tell you, man, gaming is turning into a dirty business, brother. You know, as far as like the money goes, and these companies wanting to save 2 cents here, 5 cents there, 35 cents here, when they're making the money. Some of these guys really have the money. They just don't want to come up off of it. They don't want to come up off of their $10 million a year salaries and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely gross, Cody. Definitely something I don't agree with, because I look at it from the perspective of, what if it was me? I know some people, they truly don't care. They're like, oh man, that's just the business. Oh well, move on, get another job. But I'm like, dag, man, I mean, that could be any of us. Any of us could be put in that position. And looking at it from that standpoint, I'm like, dag, man, you know, that's real foul. I wouldn't want that to be me or somebody that I know, a loved one, especially as hard as it is out here today. That's really terrible tactics, man. And I hope that, all I can say is I hope that they can land on their feet, you know, and get into a better situation, better position, and, you know, be able to bounce back from this rough moment that's going on in their lives. We'll definitely see what happens with this. But I'm going to go ahead, guys, and I'm going to get back into the rest of the gaming news here. I forgot where I left off at. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Let's move on into a story that I actually got from GameSpot. So, in more news, Grand Theft Hamlet, which is a new documentary filmed inside of GTA 5, is coming to streaming services and theaters in 2025. Now, it's being directed by Sam Crane and Penny Grills. Now, the film's story is about a duo of struggling actors as they attempt to stage a production of Shakespeare's Hamlet during the middle of the COVID pandemic. Now, the runtime of this film is 89 minutes, and it will arrive on the Mubi streaming service as well as being released in theaters. Now, the film has already won this year's documentary film competition at South by Southwest. So this is definitely something that is very interesting, especially taking the doggone engine from Grand Theft Auto 5 and pretty much making a documentary in that style. That is pretty amazing. So if you guys are interested in this 2025, it will be releasing. And again, if you want to see it at home, go to Mubi, that's MUBI, or you can go to the movie theater to check it out. Let's go ahead and let's get into the next story. So I got this story from TechSpot. So in more Xbox news, big changes are coming to Xbox Cloud Gaming. Now, previously, the service has been strictly limited to a curated selection of Game Pass titles, but soon subscribers will be able to stream any game from their library. Now, unnamed sources told The Verge that starting in November, the Game Pass feature will allow players to stream any game they own. Not just titles available through Game Pass, but this upgrade internally, codenamed Project Lapland, will open up, quote, thousands, end of quote, of additional titles for cloud streaming. Now, it's worth noting, quote, some, end of quote, publishers may hold back their games from the streaming lineup due to licensing hurdles. But nonetheless, I mean, it's going to be a massive increase in games to choose from. Now, the timing of this is perfect too, because a court ruled Google must stop forcing the use of Google Play billing for in-app purchases starting on November 1st, which will clear the way for Xbox to enable direct game purchases and access through their Android app. And to go in line with this, Xbox President Sarah Bond said, and I quote, starting in November, players will be able to play and purchase Xbox games directly from the Xbox app on Android, end of quote. So this right here is listen, again, not a fan of Game Pass, definitely not a fan of cloud streaming and all of that stuff. Oh, you can keep all of that. Who cares? But I will say, this is kind of dope. This is kind of dope to be able to be on the road, especially now since I actually have been playing mobile games. Man, mobile games is kind of fire. I'm still sticking with the same one, the zombie game. That game is dope as a mother lover. But I'm imagining being able to have these games that you own be able to be downloaded on your phone or bought on your phone to actually play. Man, you get a backbone or whatever it's called. I forget the name of that controller for the phone. You get that and you can actually play the games. Now, I don't know how well it's going to stream. I don't know how that's going to work, how it's going to come through. Might be a lot of buffering depending on where you're at. It might not be, who knows? But I do think this is kind of nice. This is actually pretty dope, opening up the floodgates, as it were, to many, many games being able to be played via your Android phone. We'll have to see what happens with this. I kind of like this. It sounds kind of, to a certain degree, even though I don't think I would use it, but it's options. So it's not a bad option. I think that this could be something. Being able to buy the games from the Google store. Right off your phone. That's kind of nice, man. Or being able to stream some games that you already own. We'll have to see how this pans out, but they're definitely moving. They continue to open up the lanes, and hopefully they'll be able to come up with something. But let's go ahead, guys, for the sake of time. Man, how many more stories I got? Oh, man, I got a few more. All right, let's get into some rumors. Oh, man.
Rumor has it is something that only I know.
So it looks like we may be getting a Marvel game that will take place in the MCU. So the rumor started on Twitter that Marvel Studios is making a game set in the MCU. Now, this rumor is coming from Twitter user, this is their name, My Time to Shine. Hello, that's their name. Now, this could be big for a few reasons. For one, we may possibly get the real actors, to not only voice the characters, but also have their likeness fully represented in the game. I mean, I remember Marvel's Avengers. That was the problem with, that game right out the gate. The people were upset that the actual MCU actors, were not reprising their role in the game. So if you actually have a MCU based game coming out of a Marvel studio, then from Marvel Studios, then that could really, really bode well for this game, whatever it may end up being. The other thing, the second thing is certain story plots that were, done in the movies could possibly carry over into the game, but again, like I say, these are rumors. So as always, take these things with a mustard seed of truth. For the sake of time, we're going to move on into the next story that I actually got from PlayStation Blog. So in exciting Astrobot news, starting tomorrow, October 17th through November 14th, 5 new levels will be added to the game, as well as 10 new special bots for you to rescue. So here's the release schedule. On October 17th, Building Speed, that's going to be the name of that course, will be released. October 24th is Let It Slide. October 31st is Spring Loaded Run. November 7th is Helium Heights. And November 14th is Rising Heat. Now, every update will be available every Thursday at 6 a.m. Pacific time and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And more importantly, all of these levels will be available for free. Shout out to Asobi. Golly, free content. Golly, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Shout out to you, Asobi. Let's get into the next story that I actually got from IGN. Now, this is a bit of a throwback because some of y'all may remember around 5 years ago that IO Interactive announced that they were working on a new James Bond project. But since that announcement, we haven't really had any updates. But now, thankfully, CEO Hakan, his name is Hakan, spelled Hakan, Abrak, spelled Abrak. Pardon me if I butchered your name, brother. I apologize sincerely. But over at IO Interactive, he has revealed a few small nuggets of information. Now, he revealed that 007 is being fully developed, published, and funded by IO Interactive, and that there is a, quote, lot of cool stuff coming up, end of quote. Now, he also said, quote, but what's exciting about that project is that we actually got to do an original story. So it's not a gamification of a movie. It's completely beginning and becoming a story, hopefully for a big trilogy out there in the future. And equally important and exciting, it's a new Bond. It's a Bond we built from ground up for gamers. End of quote. So here it is. Okay, in these notes, we find out this is going to have an original story. He's looking at this from the possibility of making this a big trilogy, and it's a new Bond. So all of those things are going into this game. Now, he also stated that they are, quote, creating a young Bond. So here we see that James Bond is going to be younger in this game. But he says they're creating a young Bond for gamers, a Bond that gamers can call their own and grow with, end of quote. So does that mean that gets me very interested in what that could mean for the character? Because if he's a young Bond, then that could possibly mean that he's inexperienced, which means that could really lead to some very interesting story beats as well. I mean, the Bond that we see today, he's all put together. He's, a ladies' man, drives some of the dopest cars, Aston Martins, and all kinds of things of that nature, dope tech and things of that sort. He's very polished. But if you're talking about a young Bond, does that mean that he's going to be, a little rough around the edges? Does it mean that, he's possibly going to make some mistakes, fail a mission or two, during the actual story of the game. I love this because it opens up the lanes for a lot of creativity around the Bond character. And like you said, they're making this Bond for gamers. And this Bond is something that gamers will be able to grow with. So with him talking about a trilogy and a young Bond, does he already have it mapped out that in each one of the games, of course, he's going to get older. He's going to get more seasoned, get more experience, and things are going to get easier. Things of that nature. I mean, it's a real nice dynamic, looking at it from that standpoint, but we'll see. But that's not it. He says, now, as far as new reveals and info about the game goes, Aprek said, he said, quote, "I know it was a little teaser, not a lot of information, but there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. We are also very excited, and when we are ready with that, we'll be opening up." End of quote. Now, he did say, quote, "the production," and this is good. He said, quote, "the production is going amazingly well, and we will soon be talking about it. We will soon be talking more about it." End of quote. So I'm very interested in this. I'm very, very much so looking forward to this game. It's been a long, long time. 5 years has gone by. Hopefully, I'm hoping, really, really hoping that at the Game Awards, maybe we get some kind of gameplay trailer, but only time will tell. Let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the final story for this week that I actually got from PureXbox.com. Now, this did not take long. This was a fast turnaround. So we're all aware that Undisputed, the boxing game, has released. And to be fair, is being looked at in an overall good light. I mean, you got to remember this is this developer's first game, Steel City, the first game they've ever made. For them to have gone this, I'm not going to say far and above, but I mean, it is kind of hard to get some of these boxers. Once you find out that, it's not like the NBA, not like the NFL, it's not even like the UFC. Where you got to go to each one of these guys individually, ask them how much they want, what do they want. I mean, Devin Haney, he wouldn't be in the game because he couldn't be on the front cover like Canelo. Since he couldn't be on the front cover, he denied the doggone offer. So, I mean, you got to deal with that, as well as other things too. So for them being a first time studio out the gate, I would say to a certain degree, having to deal with all of that, they're kind of punching above their weight class. So, I mean, shout out to them for being able to make that happen. But the thing is that according to a Gaming Insider journalist, Mike Straw, he was on the MSM podcast. He's saying EA has been looking at the success of Undisputed, and, they may want to throw their hat back into the ring. He said, and I quote, "They've seen the interest in Undisputed. They have noticed that people are talking." He continues, "I can tell you that after years of an on and off again, Fight Night is in the stage where EA is working on what they have to do to get this out. And it should," he says, "and should it will release on current gen Xbox and PlayStation hardware. 3 to 4 years is a good window for them, like 2028 is a good window." End of quote. Now, by the time 2028 is here, we're going to be in next generation. Now, this guy did say something interesting. He's saying it's still going to be on current generation, and that is not a stretch of the imagination, because we see that this generation, 4 years later, last generation, is still here. And people are still making games for it 4 years in. So him saying that they're about 4 years out, 3 or 4 years out from this Fight Night possibly coming out, I believe that it will still be on the PlayStation 5 and the Series X and S. But what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that this is going to happen? Of course, these companies, they're in it for the money, and I'm not mad at them. Hey, you give me a dope product for entertainment, I give you my money willingly. So, just make a great product and you get my money. And, this is dope. This is what I wanted. I wanted EA to see Undisputed being successful. Now, I don't know how many copies. Let's see if we can figure out how many copies Undisputed has sold. How many copies has Undisputed, the boxing game, sold? Let me see. 951. I think these are players over the last 30 days. Now, this was before the game actually officially came out 30 days ago. This just came out the 11th of this month, and they were saying peak players were around 3,897. So that was for the people that were in the beta, and that was on PC as well. So, yeah, it's really no way of telling how many copies the game has sold thus far. Wait a minute. This is from Gamealytics. It says revenue, player data, and other stats on Undisputed Links. Says that copies sold 470,000.4, 235.2 thousand to 705.6 thousand. Gross revenue 13.9. Whoa, let me open this up. Whoa, is this real? All right, now this was just, all right, this was published, Monday, October 7th. All right, it's talking about the stats. Copies sold 472.2 thousand. Gross revenue $14.1 million. Gee whiz, god darn. So it's already sold almost 500,000 copies. It's saying owners 536,000.4. USA makes up 39% of the sales. Germany 4.7, others 40.3, Britain 15.5. Dag, it's doing pretty darn good if it almost sold. Well, it sold almost 500,000 copies. God dog. Dang. For a brand new developer. And again, I want y'all to be able to fact check this. This is Gamealytics, Gamealytic. It says Undisputed. Now, this is the Steam stats. So this isn't even on console. These are just Steam numbers. So yeah, man. Darn, that's pretty doggone good. Yeah, we'll see what happens with this. But anyway, EA possibly trying to get their crown back, trying to jump back in the ring, possibly. We'll see what happens with this. But, man, we've been here for a while. Anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which is going to take us into Video Game Theater. And in this week's Video Game Theater, we got to take a look back. Oh, man. This game, I believe, good grief, because my memory, y'all know my memory is shot. Hold on. When did Uncharted 2 release? Because that's what we covering today.
According to Wikipedia, it is the second game in the Uncharted series.
Yeah.
It was released in October 2009 for PlayStation 3.
Yes, indeed. October 13th, 2009. We're taking a look back at Uncharted 2. We're talking about this game is 19, 21, 2, 3, 4. 15 years old. And in my opinion, this was the pivotal change that really had people start paying attention to Naughty Dog. And this week, we're going to take a look back at an iconic scene, the train scene in Uncharted 2. So we will be back with the final section of the podcast right after this. Stay tuned, guys.
This is mine, jerkweed. Save my again. You all right?
Get off the train, mate.
What are you talking about? You have any idea what I've been through?
I never asked for any of your bloody heroics.
Chloe, come on. We don't have time for this.
You're right. So get off the train while you still can.
And leave you with them.
You made your choice.
What did you expect me to do?
I expected you to have my back.
I had your back.
How could you possibly with the other two on yours?
Good luck with Flynn. We deserve each other. You know, I can't believe...
No.
You just don't know when to quit, do you?
What? No witty remark? Nothing clever to say?
Don't. No!
Oh, no, you don't!
Stop. Just let him go.
Put him out of his misery!
Doggone Uncharted 2. God dog. Game was amazing. Among Thieves. Doggone Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Doggone game was incredible. One of the best. I played that game in that train scene when you were fighting against the helicopter. Oh my gosh. Absolutely gaming cinematography. I couldn't even get it out. God dog it. Incredible. Doggone just Naughty Dog. This is why we want to know what you're working on right now. Naughty Dog, what you got up under your sleeve? Let us know something. Gee whiz. But anyway, we are in the final section of the podcast. And I know you guys saw the question already, and I want to thank you again for being here. But let's officially go over it together. So the question of the week is, should games be reviewed for a second time? Now, the reason why I'm asking this is because Star Wars Outlaws has been getting a lot of updates, doing a lot of things to make the game better, more fun, getting rid of the bugs, which is great. I mean, this happens not just to Star Wars Outlaws, but other games as well. Another bigger title, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 released in a horrid state. It was horrible, horrendous, but eventually they got it together. It was one of the greatest gaming comebacks in doggone gaming history. As far as I'm concerned, the way that they brought that game back to prominence and, were able to fix the bugs and make it run better, especially on this generation's hardware. Man, what a story, from CD Projekt Red. So, with games like these, as well as others that have gotten fixes, over the next couple of weeks or whatever after they release, do you guys think that, games should be reviewed for a second time, maybe letting people know what the differences are, what has changed, what's made the game better, what improvements have they made? Or are you of the mindset of you get one shot at this and that's it? The game that you release is the game that you get graded on. You can't take your paper back and doggone start to correct the answers and all of that stuff. It's too late. It's already been graded by the teacher, so you don't get a second chance. Some people may feel like that, but that's why I'm asking you your opinion. If you would like to be a part of the conversation, you can do it 2 different ways. Y'all already know. You can either email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Or if you want to call in and let your voice literally be heard, you can do that by calling in at 443-627-9087. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and again, I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to also thank Cody Clark for writing in, and I also want to thank my good brother Crimson Phoenix as well. Thank you guys. So with that being said, before we wrap this thing up and tie that bow on it, before we do that, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.